Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV Midday in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I'm Muyi Agumofwebe. President Bola Tinubu on Friday in Abuja expressed his appreciation to France for the return of $150 million stolen from Nigeria by former head of state, General Sani Abacha. In addition to the recovery of another tranche of Abacha loot, the president acknowledged the signing of a €100 million agreement between Nigeria and France to support the IDICE program, a federal government initiative to promote investment in information and communications technology, ICT, and creative arts industries. President Tinubu commended the strengthening of bilateral relations between Nigeria and France, noting that this progress followed his visit to that country after his inauguration. The agreement was signed by Bosun Tijani, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Technology, and French Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs at an earlier event at Tafawa Balewa House, the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The president, while emphasizing the need to reinforce collaboration on both political and economic fronts, welcomed the great cooperation between the two countries in areas of shared interests such as climate change, economic integration, education, and culture. The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream, Ikeagwonu Ugochinyere, has pledged to carry out a comprehensive audit of the Premium Motor Spirits (PMS), commonly known as petrol subsidy regime. He also said the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act (PIA), which has come a major concern to key stakeholders, would be thoroughly reviewed. Ugochinyere said this at the inauguration of the committee in Abuja on Friday. Kikelemo Okere has details.
The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources says the committee will legislate for energy security, professionalism in the petroleum sector, economic transformation, accountability, institutional reform, revenue recovery and generation, with a specific goal of helping the federal government to recover $20 billion revenue from the sector. The lawmaker says the early remittance of federal revenues and recovery of unremitted revenues is part of what the committee will focus on in the coming days.
Modern legislators perform a myriad of functions and roles which derive from their constitutional position in a democracy. We believe that democratic norms must be fully employed in protecting the interests, safety, and welfare of the people. It is therefore in its quest to execute this function that the Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream of the House of Representatives is set up to carry out the functions already stated above. I want to assure you all that this committee, under our watch, will ensure that the right thing is done at all times. The Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream of the 10th House of Representatives is going to be a committee with the interests of the people at heart, and a committee that will put the interests of the nation forward in all its consideration, especially the quest for energy security.
He says the Downstream Committee of the House on Petroleum Resources will do a comprehensive audit of the PMS subsidy regime. He says the committee will probe the beneficiary of the payment, rendering accounts on all loans, transactions, and the export financing arrangement and other loans arrangements.
This committee will legislate for energy security. This committee will carry out its function in all with high level of professionalism in the petroleum sector. We will focus on economic transformation, accountability, institutional reforms, and revenue recovery and generation, with a specific goal of helping the federal government to recover the over $20 billion revenue from the sector that have not been remitted.
The chairman added that the committee has started getting reports that most of the modulars refineries are ready for operation, saying there are challenges of the domestic crude supply, but the Petroleum Industry Act has made provision for domestic crude supply to those modulars and all local refineries as it is in the constitutional provision. Kikelemo Okere, Global Television News.
The Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has apologized to the people of the state over the recent political crisis in Rivers. He described the crisis as regrettable anxieties of the last few days, saying it was important to make sacrifices for peace to reign. Governor Fubara stated this in a statement he signed titled "Peace is Priceless," which was issued to newsmen on Saturday in Port Harcourt, the state capital. While recalling the bombing of the State House of Assembly complex and the division among lawmakers, the governor explained that his visit to the house was to assess the level of damage caused by the fire and undertake remedial measures to protect lives and property within the assembly complex. He thanked President Bola Tinubu for his intervention, which he said opened a series of communication channels aimed at arriving at a peaceful resolution of the crisis. The governor added that no sacrifice was too much for him to make, saying it is the collective responsibility of his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, and himself to use their positions to advance the progress, security, and well-being of the people. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has upheld the election of the member representing Jama'ar Sango Federal Constituency in the National Assembly, Daniel Amos. This affirmation follows the dismissal of petitions challenging his victory in the February 25 poll. The three-member panel, in a unanimous decision, held that the appeal brought before it by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Usman Anto, against the lawmaker lacked merit. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had declared Daniel Amos as winner of the National Assembly elections. Dissatisfied with the declaration, Usman and the APC challenged the election of Amos and filed a petition against the state's election tribunal. The Kaduna State National and State Election Petitions Tribunal dismissed the petition for lack of merit. Not satisfied with the judgments of the tribunal, Anto appealed to the Court of Appeal on the grounds of certificate forgery. However, Justice Samuel Ademola Bolaji, who read the judgment, said that Anto failed woefully to establish the case of forgery against the lawmaker. The justices rebuked the appellant for relying on mere allegations, as there was no evidence before the tribunal and Court of Appeal to establish the case of forgery against the defendants. The organized labor on Friday declared Wednesday, 8th November 2023, a nationwide strike following the Monday's manhandling of the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Comrade Joe Ajaero, in Imo State. Deputy President of NLC, Adewale Adeyanju, and the Deputy President of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, in a joint briefing with journalists in Abuja, gave implementation of 6-point demands to the federal government to avert the looming strike. Among the demands are the immediate removal of the Imo State Commissioner of Police Area Command and other state government officials fingered in the alleged brutalization of Ajaero and other workers who were humiliated in the assault. As we turn to other stories now, the Lagos State government has announced that it will be closing the Echo Bridge between Costain and Alaka Crescent to carry out emergency repairs. This was contained in a press statement signed by the Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiemi. The repairs, the government says, are necessary to avoid the complete vandalization and theft of the expansion joint, as well as the replacement of missing parts and the recasting of the transition concrete around the expansion joint. It says motorists planning to use the bridge are consequently advised to use the Costain ramp to link Alaka through the Costain roundabouts. The bridge will be closed on Saturday, November 4, 2023 by 4 a.m. and reopened on Monday, November 6, 2023. You're watching Global TV Midday News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us across social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the Midday News returns, Naira rebounds as CBN clears forex obligation. The news continues shortly with details of these and other stories right after this break. Do stay with us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the midday news from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, with Uyi Agumofwegbe. More than 150 people have been killed after an earthquake struck remote western Nepal on Friday. Security forces have been deployed to help rescue efforts in the rugged districts of Jojakot and West Rukum, 500 kilometers west of Kathmandu. Strong tremors were felt far away in the Nepalese capital and in cities in neighboring India, including Delhi. The army spokesman said more than 100 people had been injured. Jojakot hospital is packed with the wounded. Rabi Casey, mayor of Adsbiscots municipality, said that a very strong jolt was felt at midnight and people rushed outdoors. Hundreds of mud houses have been completely damaged. 3 more tremors were felt within an hour of the earthquake, and many people have spent the rest of the night in the open because of fear of further quakes and damage to the houses. UNICEF Nepal says that they were assessing the damage and toll of the disaster on children and families. Nepal's Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal arrived in the affected region on Saturday after expressing his deep sorrow at the loss of life and property wrought by the quake on social media platform X. He said he had ordered security agencies to immediately launch rescue and relief operations. Let's turn to East Africa now, where President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, has declared that the country will grant visa-free travel to Africans to boost free movement of people and trade. This decision positions Rwanda as the latest African nation to adopt such a measure, joining others in the pursuit of a more integrated continent to rival Europe's Schengen zone. The Schengen zone, consisting of 27 European countries, has successfully eliminated the need for passports and various border control measures at their shared borders. Kagame revealed his plans on Thursday during a speech in Kigali, the capital of his country. The president emphasized the immense potential of Africa as a unified tourism destination. Currently, the continent heavily depends on tourists from outside Africa, accounting for 60% of its total visitors, according to data from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Rwanda is poised to become the latest African nation to eliminate travel restrictions for fellow Africans, following in the footsteps of Gambia, Benin, and Seychelles. Similarly, in the recent developments, Kenya's President William Ruto has revealed plans to allow visa-free travel to Kenya for all Africans by December 31. Schools were shut across India's capital on Friday as unusual grey smog engulfed the mega city and made life a misery for its 30 million inhabitants. Smoke from farmers burning crop stubble, vehicle exhaust, and factory emissions combined every winter to blanket the capital in a deadly haze. On Friday, levels of the most dangerous PM2.5 particles, so tiny they can enter the bloodstream, were almost 35 times the daily maximum recommended by the World Health Organization, according to monitoring firm IQ Air. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal announced late Thursday that all primary schools would be closed across the capital for at least 2 days. Let's talk some business now. The Naira is poised to strengthen to below 1,000 Naira per dollar on the parallel market next week, following positive sentiments around the federal government's plans to shore up dollar liquidity in the foreign exchange markets. There are enough dollars in the market now, the bank says, and continues to assure that what the Apex Bank is doing is for people who no longer hoard and have increased liquidity in the markets. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in the meantime, has refuted the alleged reports on scarcity of cash at banks, automated teller machines, ATMs, points of sale, and among Bureau de Change (BDCs) in some major cities across the country. This is contained in a statement signed by the Director of Corporate Communication of the Central Bank, Issa Abdulmumin. The statement says that the bank's findings reveal that the seeming cash scarcity in some locations is due largely to high volume withdrawals from the CBN branches by deposit money banks, DMPs, and panic withdrawals by customers from ATMs. CBN, therefore, it says, has noted there is availability of cash for financial transactions while assuring the public that there is sufficient stock of currency notes for economic activities in the country. The branches of the CBN across the country are also working, it says, to ensure the seamless circulation of cash in their respective states of operation. Nigerians numbering over 26.5 million, including internally displaced persons, IDPs, may be plunged into acute food insecurity between June and August 2024. The CADA Harmonized CH report has shown. The report, which was launched by the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, of the United Nations in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in Abuja on Friday, showed that the post-effect of petrol subsidy removal has had its toll on food prices, which impacted household capacity to sustain acceptable food consumption patterns. The report, which covered 26 states and the Federal Capital Territory, also showed a reduced harvest and household stock resulting from flash floods that led to displacements and loss of cultivated crop fields and ready-to-harvest crops. Going into the lean season, June to August 2024, household sales may experience slight to moderate deterioration in food consumption, which may plunge several states into a crisis phase. As we take a look at stories from Nigeria's southeast, the Anambra State government has announced that it has approved the release of 1.2 billion naira for the renovation of borehole water schemes across the state. This was contained in an official press release signed by Paul Uwosu, Anambra State Commissioner for Information, on Friday. According to the press statement, the state's Executive Council on Wednesday had approved 1,204,002,118 naira for the Phase 1 renovation of 67 borehole water schemes in Anambra State. Approval of funds for the renovation of Ministry of Justice zonal offices. Also, Anambra State Executive Council, in its council meeting on Wednesday, awarded a contract for the renovation of zonal offices of the Ministry of Justice in the state. According to the statement, the council approved the release of 71.3 million naira for the contract to renovate the zonal offices and to ensure the speedy dispensation of justice. Furthermore, the statement says the renovation work on the zonal offices across Anambra State is expected to be completed within a period of 4 months from the date of payment of mobilization fee. As we take a look at sports now, UEFA and the Amri Group, owner of L'Equipe and France Football magazine, which created the Ballon d'Or, have announced Friday they had signed a partnership to organize the awards ceremony starting next year. The Paris-based Amri Group will remain the owner of the Ballon d'Or and continue to oversee the votes, while UEFA will take charge of marketing, commercial rights, and help organize the annual awards gala. 2 new prizes will also be awarded in 2024 for the Women's and Men's Coach of the Year. The annual ceremony takes place in Paris, but there is the possibility it could move to other big European cities after 2024, Amri revealed. Organizers of the annual Lagos Women Run have confirmed that about 8,000 runners have registered to participate in the November 11 race, while 300 professionals have indicated interest in the race. The 10-kilometer race will begin from Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS, Lagos Island, through to Nitel Road to Amadu Bello Way and end at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, formerly known as Onikon Stadium, Lagos Island, aimed at promoting good health, empowerment, and support for girl child. Popola revealed that this year's event will see the men winner take home 1.5 million naira as against 1 million naira in the previous editions, while the veteran category cash prize moved from 300,000 naira to 500,000 naira. In the same vein, 20 winners from the open run and 20 winners in the veteran category will be rewarded. Technical Director, Lagos State Athletics Association, and Fiok Udombong described the initiative as a welcome development, saying the association has been moving to bring more and more young girls into compete in Lagos Women Run. Yaya Toure has joined Saudi Arabia as an assistant coach, linking up with his former Man City boss Roberto Mancini, thus increasing the number of top stars now playing on and off the pitch, rolls Saudi. Toure, who retired from playing in 2019, has left the equivalent role with the Belgian side Standard Ligue, despite only joining in June of this year. Mancini spent 4 years as City manager from 2009 to 2013, helping the club to win their first Premier League title in 2011-2012. He signed Toure from Barcelona in 2010, and the former Ivory Coast star went on to become a legend with the club as he won 3 Premier League titles and 4 other trophies during the 8 seasons at the Etihad. The midfielder later spent time playing for Olympiacos and Chinese side Qiando Honghai before retiring. Alongside his spell at Standard Liège, he also coached at Ukrainian side Olympic Donetsk, Russian outfits Akhmat Grozny, and in Tottenham's academy. Touare had joined the Belgian side as part of Karl Hoffink's coaching staff in the summer, with Standard currently 8th in the Belgian Pro League. And that's it on Global TV Midday News, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Uyi Agumofwebe. Thank you so very much for watching. I'll see you again.